All right, what's up, everybody? So, this is another post about how I got my name on Xiaohongshu, and or also known as Rednote and Little Red Book. And I thought it was interesting because back on Twitter, right, there's been a lot of tweets or posts from people sharing, what's happening on Xiaohongshu. And so I then added a comment here about how someone on the app had actually given me my Chinese name. And, George in Greek means earth worker or farmer, apparently. And this was the name that I was given. Ra'ang. Duo. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's my attempt at it anyways. And I thought this was pretty cool, to get the name. And I think what's really fascinating is, in Polynesian culture, names hold great power, right? In our myths and legends, names were known to have great power. And so I think the naming of a person in the Chinese language seems to also be a very special experience. And I think this is something that, you don't often find in the English language. And there were some interesting replies to it. As you can see here, this particular one, right? If we go here, where, other Chinese folks have been commenting about how, okay, maybe that name might be a little bit too literal and, maybe it means something else. So someone down below, let's see what I can find. Okay, this name has good meaning right here. So this person recommended another name for me, which was this one here. And I believe it means, or it comes from Wang Yangming, as you can see down below here, right? And it got me thinking, in terms of the names themselves, right? And what we can research or find out. Well, it essentially put me down a rabbit hole. And I then actually started looking, researching online, who this Wang Yangming person was. And according to Wikipedia, he was a philosopher, a politician, a general, a writer, and a calligrapher during the Ming Dynasty. And I think what stood out the most for me was, let's see, the innate knowing. So this is really fascinating because I'm actually quite big as well on this harmonization between, the intuition that we have as well as the rational sides that we have. And I often look at it as I'm somebody who probably has more Eastern values due to my Polynesian and Indian ethnicity, but having also been raised with a Western education. So there are things that I think in terms of Western culture, and there are also aspects that I think in terms of Eastern, right? And I'm always struggling between the two, but I'm looking to harmonize them. And I think even some of the philosophies here of Wang Yangming seems to actually reflect some of the things that I've been thinking about trying to consolidate. And I thought that was super fascinating. Shinto, I'm a big fan of Japan too, and also the Shinto religion. Specifically because it's more of an animistic belief systems, which is similar to pre-Christianized Polynesian beliefs. And so even when I was in Japan, I learned about the Shinto gods and goddesses and just the belief again. There were a lot of similarities again to pre-Christian Polynesian myths, legends, gods and goddesses. And then I was also intrigued to learn that Wang Yangming is also kind of attested as someone who inspired or influenced the Japanese samurai ethic or Bushido. So we got the Japanese samurai ethic here, and I think somewhere it was talking about Bushido. But yeah, I'll see if I can find that. So yeah, just going through, super fascinating. He talks about integration of knowledge and action. Again, interesting because these are also things that I have. I actually have this one community called GSD, or Get Shit Done, and this has been a group that has run across several cities since 2016. And I am somebody who loves to learn, but I'm also somebody who likes to be able to execute. And so that seems to be part of this Neo-Confucianism philosophy. And apparently Wang Yongming was a master of Confucianism. And again, Confucianism is also another thing that I always really respected from the Chinese culture and history, because it's something that always just sounded so wise in general whenever I would hear Confucius say, right? There's just a lot of things that come out of that system, I think, that are good. But of course, there's always going to be things that might not be so good. I mean, I guess there's a reason why it didn't necessarily stick as some might have hoped.